Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel, Shelf Lovers Facts. In a previous video, I described the difficulties that come with calling the police for a non-emergency call, how it can take an hour or more to just get through to a police operator, and how the same process is required to cancel a call. I also mentioned how Mayra knowingly uses such difficulties to her advantage when we try to call. A lot of the times, after we called the police, Mayra turned on her music, and when we called back the non-emergency police number to cancel the call, this too often required waiting a long time to get through to an operator. In many cases, when we got through, we explained to the operator that because Mayra stops and starts with her blasting music, that we might have to call back. And also, in many cases, as soon as we canceled the call, Mayra started blasting music again. We believe this occurred because, through our fin walls, Mayra could hear both the police menu while we waited for an operator and us asking for the call to be cancelled. Moreover, in Terry's response to Mayra's RO against him, Terry details how Mayra is aware that it usually takes a long time for the police to respond, and she times the police accordingly. Also, at Terry's hearing for Mayra's RO against him, Terry stated that calling the police is the last thing we want to do, and that Mayra is aware of how difficult, disruptive, and miserable it is for us to do so. He added that she purposely turned the music up and down so that when the police arrived, she could ask for a business card and claim she was being harassed, when in reality, it was an abusive and cruel form of harassment from her that she knew she could get away with because of her backing from Jay and support from the neighbors, such as Eric, who is shown in the video I have in this post. I also explained this in person to the police, some of whom have said that this is a known tactic. In one fairly recent case, Mayra abused us in various ways, including with blasting music, because there was a tactical alert and she figured the police would not come. At some point, an operator called back and said the tactical alert will end soon, and if I still wanted the police to come. I said yes, though I wasn't expecting them to arrive. They eventually did arrive, but Mayra had stopped her music by then. Although we have numerous recordings of her blasting music, in our security cameras recording, you can hear Mayra lie to the police when they asked her if she had been playing loud music. This was pointed out and proven to Jay, yet Jay is using Mayra, a proven repeated liar, as a witness for our eviction. But with Jay, it is okay if you lie, as long as there's more than one liar, and those liars act in his favor. We pointed out to Jay how Mayra has such disregard for anyone else that while she was too drunk and high to even walk properly, she drove for the purpose of buying more alcohol. Arguably, this could be dismissed as irrelevant, though with all the emphasis on safety, namely from Jay, Eric, and Stacy, it could also be argued that tenants are in danger twice when she drives in this condition from her parking space down the building's driveway to the street and back from the street to her parking space. This can also be said for Steve, who is also often drunk and speeds down the building's driveway. Steve is one of the tenants who signed an affidavit against us. Ironically, or disturbingly, however one might view it, on one of the nights Mayra drove in an intoxicated state to buy more alcohol, she came back to her unit within a few minutes before the police arrived. And had the police arrived a few minutes earlier, she would have, or at least should have been arrested for a DUI, though that wouldn't have made any differences to Jay or any of her supporters either, which is why, relevant or not, it is relevant to us to show what type of person Jay and our neighbors are going so out of their way to support for the purpose of destroying us. As I previously mentioned, Mayra intentionally times the police so that she's not loud when they arrive. In other cases, though, she simply passes out from her alcohol and or drug-induced binge by the time the police arrive. And frankly, going by the way she talks and behaves in the video, this was obviously the case at the time. Mayra did not have to talk that loud. After years of being pushed beyond our limits and the limits of most people, we occasionally expressed our anger with some vigor. Mayra, the one who started all of these problems, didn't need to talk that way. In the video, you hear the police asking her to be quieter. And whenever she talked to us that way, we were accused of disrupting the peace in the building, which further allowed Jay and some tenants to make a case for an eviction against us. There have been times when we were the ones who asked the police to be quieter. In one case, an officer became angry at us. Another time, an officer yelled at one of Mayra's guests and told him to shut up, when after Mayra's guests kept loudly mouthing off to him. This officer was actually trying to help us. But like with other similar situations, Mayra's supporters nevertheless shifted the blame on us for all the yelling. On the subject of Mayra's supporters, I would like to cover a particular incident involving Eric. At the time of this incident with Eric, we called the police. For some reason or another, we can't quite remember because there are so many things to remember. We did not think the police were going to arrive, but they did. And we did not become aware of how Eric prompted one of the officers to briefly beam his flashlight on our closed door until we checked our security footage. The video I have in this post shows Eric entering our building at the same time the police do. And in the video, Eric eventually asks the police to come to his door, at least after they have finished talking to Mayra. From what we heard on our security footage, while the police were talking to Mayra, Eric complained to everyone and asked them to be quiet because he needed to sleep. After Eric complained about what seemed to be about Mayra and the officers being too loud, the police went to Eric's door. While talking to the police, Eric pointed to our door, which prompted one of the officers to briefly beam his flashlight over our closed door. These are just a few of the examples of how Eric has been monitoring us for years and looking for any excuse to accuse us of something that he can give to Jay, whom Eric knew was also looking for any excuse to run with it if he could. Days after Eric was served with my restraining order against him, we, through his attorney, received 5 affidavits in Eric's favor from tenants in our building. As I said in another video, one of these tenants is Mayra Gutierrez, the neighbor from hell, who has said that Jay has her back, be it directly and or via emails, text messages, etc. There has been communications about us between Eric and the tenants who signed affidavits on Eric's behalf. And the fact that those affidavits were available so soon is another indication that this collective attack against us has been in a long time in the making. Even in the video I show, in this post, one can hear Eric say to the police that we are the cause for all the problems. Yet Eric wants to sue me for slander and malicious prosecution. One of the reasons being is because I said he was trying to get us evicted. Yet to add further insult to injury, Eric along with Mayra and Stacy are witnesses for our eviction. And it's worth noting that the eviction is because we have ignored the warning on our second notice. We already knew what lies were being perpetuated against us before we received our second warning notice, especially after we received the affidavits. So when we received the second warning on 3/4/26, which said any future disturbance will be grounds for eviction, the operative word here being future, we took extra measures not to give anyone any kind of excuse to make up something that they could use against us. Yet the fact that no one will have any evidence to prove we did anything after we received the second notice, because we did not, apparently doesn't mean anything, because in this case, there are more liars than people telling the truth. And unfortunately, these days, it is well known that the chances of there being any consequences for lying under the penalty of perjury is about as much as winning the lottery jackpot. So those inclined to lie to this extent are encouraged to think, why not? For their own ends, indulge in destroying people's lives. In this post, I have the video that was also sent to Jay of Eric talking to the police when one of the officers beamed his flashlight across our door. Thanks for watching and hope you return.
Hello. Hi, how's it going? Oh, you're sleeping? Okay, my name is Officer Lopez with LAPD. Okay. You guys did call on the wall? The TV and stuff? What? Did they call about the TV? The noise? Okay, you're sleeping? Yeah. Okay, try to keep the TV down, okay? I know, I understand it's not on right now, but when you do have it on. I don't hear anything, but that's why we got called up for. And, I think they called earlier today. We don't know. Probably, maybe, I don't know, but something that you guys trying to figure out with the management to I know. Who's sleeping? Okay. Well, take care, have a good night, have a good night, okay? I'm sorry, guys, you are way too time. Okay, you can go back to sleep, okay? I know. Oh. Here. What's up? Yes. I need that. You want a card? Okay. No, just give me your police card. Yeah. Yes. Something on good time. Yes, you did. Yeah. And, I'm not going to be. No. I'm gonna write it for you. Yeah, this is right. Because, yes, it's not a first time. Yeah, that's the number. It's six, right? Yep. We're taking already. Okay, good. Good? We don't have that. Yeah, this is, yeah, this is, we've been an ongoing thing with these. Yeah, come over, guys. Yeah. I've been very nice. It's pretty late. I've been going all the time. Yeah, it's pretty late. We'll keep the voices down. We'll just give you the car when we're on our way, okay? Yes, thank you. Please say. Thank you. Okay, no problem. Have a good weekend, okay? You go back to sleep now. I'm sorry. All right.